everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the power of transformation. And the reason I picked this particular topic is that my girls and I have two little children, and this is during the time of COVID, so we're doing a lot of experiments at home and things like that. One of the things that we're doing is that we got one of those butterfly pavilions, if you will, where you get little caterpillars, little teeny baby caterpillars in the mail, and then they turn into big fat caterpillars, and they eventually go into like the chrysalis state, and then they emerge as butterflies, and you set them free. But it's a really beautiful process to observe, particularly for young children. And over the last 2 weeks as we've been observing these, a lot of different feelings have come to mind for me. And I have a really beautiful quote about the transformational process from caterpillar to butterfly I'm going to share in a moment. But I was thinking about how many times I work with clients, and I've been through it myself, where they felt like the caterpillar, right? They didn't feel like this beautiful, brilliant, emerging butterfly, but they felt like this caterpillar, this swollen, kind of sluggish creature who was living sort of a different reality than they had hoped for. And maybe they were bloated with self-guilt or low self-esteem or just general unhappiness, like kind of despair or depression around the way that their life currently is. And like I said, I have been through that, right? So I have been the caterpillar. It wasn't just so long ago. It was, a handful of years ago that I turned 40. My marriage was struggling. In fact, I had filed for divorce, so I was going through the divorce and the whole ugly process of divorce with kids. My business at that time was really focused exclusively on business coaching and consulting. I wasn't working on sort of that individual level with people, and I was really missing kind of that deeper, soulful connection with clients. I had started self-isolating pretty heavily, so I wasn't around my friends or family beyond just my immediate family. And like I said, I was struggling with depression and was on medication for it and so forth. But I was drinking wine too heavily. I wasn't taking care of my body. There was just a whole host of things that were not going well in my life, and it was a really difficult period in my life. And the reason I even share that story with you is because I was the caterpillar, and I knew that I wanted to fly. I knew I wanted to live a more beautiful existence. I knew I wanted to return to those feelings of happiness that I once had. And one of the reasons that I do the type of work that I do now is that when I was going through my extended state of feeling like a caterpillar, not to make light of what I was going through or what my clients are going through, but I wish I had leaned in on a coach at that point. I wish I had leaned on a coach that could listen intently and more deeply to me than anybody had. And frankly, the people in my life that knew me well had already kind of heard my story and the things that I was struggling with, and they just didn't have the capacity to hear it again. And I think that's one of the things that a really good coach does for you, is that they listen to you more deeply and more carefully than anyone in your life is able to do. They also help you look outside of yourself into the larger context of your life and the bigger picture of your life. And really strategically, at least I do with my clients, we really strategically discuss the things that are sort of broken in your life or inside of you, and then make a plan for how you're going to disrupt that brokenness and rebuild or transform and transcend into the woman that you want to be right now today, or the man that you want to be right now today. Because guys, gals, we all get buried down in the whole busyness of life with all of these things, these different hats that we wear, these different masks that we put on that just don't suit us, that don't fit us. And then we find ourselves oftentimes at this crossroads in our life where we're like, what the hell? Is this it? Like, how did I even arrive here? And this isn't what I wanted. I've been there, and I work with clients in that capacity all the time. And I wish when I was going through my struggles and feeling like a caterpillar and struggling as much as I was, that I had that lifeline, that hand up where I could very proactively and aggressively take the reins and take charge of my life faster. I ended up doing that, and I got to where I needed to go, and I made huge changes. And in fact, that's sort of the premise of my business, is becoming a disruptor, being really intentional about moving out what's not serving you so you can make space for the new, and that you can experience that transformational process of really creating your dream reality. And so I've been there. I have done the work, and now I do the work with my clients, and we sort of work in collaboration. Of course, they own that process of like, hey, I am feeling really stuck right now. Maybe you're unhappy in your marriage. Maybe you are struggling with weight. Maybe you have lack of identity because you've been a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you're just getting back into the dating world and you don't really even know exactly who you are anymore or what you represent. It's difficult to obviously attract a potential mate or a long-term relationship when you're confused about who you are and what you really want and what you have to offer. But in any case, I work with a lot of different people across a lot of different emotional issues. But oftentimes what unifies us, where we're same or similar, is that this general feeling of discontent, where we feel like the caterpillar. And I remember even the other day, my daughter was looking at these caterpillars, and they were a little stinky, and she's like, Mom, these chrysalids, like, they're kind of gross. They're sort of ugly, and it's hard to believe that they become a butterfly. And I just thought, yeah, baby girl, I get it. Like, I remember feeling that way. I remember feeling ugly, and I felt that way physically, but it was about how I was feeling on the inside during that period of my life, where I was stuck for a couple of years, just feeling so dissatisfied with myself, with my life, with my appearance, with my inner sort of soul and spirit being in conflict. So as a coach, as a business coach, as a life coach, as a spiritual coach, and oftentimes those things all go together, I just invite you, if you're feeling like the caterpillar, if things are just not lining up for you in your life and you feel deeply unfulfilled or deeply stuck, please reach out and call me in real life. Like, let's not just connect through social media. You can see a link in my bio where it clicks directly onto my scheduler. A couple of times a week, I do put aside time to meet with new people or to meet with friends if you're a friend of mine. And we can sit down and have a 30-minute conversation together about your life, where you're at, the transformation that you might want to have take place in your life and how it's possible. It takes strategic, deliberate work, clearing the obstacles of the things that have been in your way, blocking your happiness, and then really being intentional about making those courageous changes. But if you're interested in having a conversation with someone that will really empathize, really understand, and listen to you more intently than probably anyone in your life, then take me up on it. It's my opportunity to serve others and also to share my gift of coaching and also my experience of having walked a mile in those shoes, and I walked several miles in those shoes that didn't fit and that hurt my spirit. So please take me up on it. Like I said, you can click the link on my bio and just book the 30-minute session. I look forward to talking to you then. And I want to share a quote that I just love, and it's by Dean Jackson. And it says, "As she emerged as a butterfly and transformed, the other caterpillars looked at her not with amazement over her beauty, but at her weirdness. They wanted her to transform back into what she always was, but she had wings." And what's powerful to me about that, and I read that quote several years ago, is that I remember when I started making my transformation. And sometimes people aren't supportive of when you're making major changes in your life. They want you to be back to where you always were, what they knew, what they were comfortable. And you might have felt that way for a long time too. But you, deeply down inside of you in your soul and spirit, know that you have wings, that you were born to fly, that you have beauty both inside and out. And you'll find that people aren't often in awe of that beauty, or at least initially. They're in awe of the weirdness, right? The chance that you took in that transformation. So I just wanted to leave that with you today. It's one of those to kind of go over a couple times in your mind. It's Dean Jackson if you just Google butterfly. But they were not in awe of her beauty. The caterpillars were in awe of her weirdness. And I just think that's one of the best compliments I could ever get from someone, is if they tell me that I'm unusual or that I'm weird, because I'm going my own way. I'm going against the grain and living the life that I want by my choice, by my rules, not because it's been indoctrinated or there's conventional standards put upon me. I really challenge and encourage you, take a look at your life. Where can you live freer, higher, better, more beautifully? I look forward to talking to you.